Picture this. You're sitting in a smoky tavern in the Caribbean, minding your own colonial business, when a sunburned man with one eye and zero patience bursts through the door yelling, "Drop your farming tools, we're starting a country." Welcome to the wild world of pirate nation building. Yes, this actually happened, and no, there was not a single government form in sight. This is not a subplot from a bad Pirates of the Caribbean sequel. This is the story of the Republic of Pirates, a real country founded by people whose main qualification was excellent at stealing stuff. You might think pirates spent their days drinking rum, singing sea shanties, and occasionally getting eaten by sharks. But for a few glorious years, a bunch of outlaws decided to play Sim City with cannons. Let's set the scene. The year is 1715. Europe is busy arguing about who gets which crown. The Spanish are hauling shiploads of gold from the Americas. British planters are busy arguing about taxes. Meanwhile, the Caribbean is basically Florida with more swords. Port Royal, the former wickedest city on earth, sank underwater a few years back. Oops, Karma, and now Nassau, a ratty little port on the island of New Providence, is the new center of chaos. Nassau. Picture it. A place with more coconuts than laws and possibly the only city where the local government is three guys who can't read maps. The British have technically claimed the Bahamas, but they're too busy drinking tea back home to enforce anything. So, who steps in to fill the leadership vacuum? Pirates, obviously. But not just any pirates. We're talking about the A-list. Blackbeard, Charles Vane, Calico, Jack Rackham, Anne Bonny, Mary Red. If there were a reality show called Pirate Island, these people would be the main cast, and every episode would end with someone getting marooned. So, how did a bunch of pirates, people whose primary skill was not getting caught, suddenly decide to start a country? Let's talk about that for a bit. It starts, as all bad ideas do, with a gold shipment gone wrong. In 1715, a Spanish treasure fleet wrecks off the coast of Florida, spilling silver and gold all over the place. Instantly, every pirate, smuggler, and unemployed boat captain in the Atlantic gets dollar signs in their eyes. Nassau explodes with activity. Overnight, the population triples from 10 chickens and a goat to several hundred people and still just the one goat. But here's the thing. Pirates need somewhere to fix their ships, spend their loot, and occasionally not die of scurvy. Nassau, with its sheltered harbor and total lack of rules, is perfect. Within months, it's the Amazon warehouse of stolen stuff. You want rum? Check. Muskets? Check. A slightly used Royal Navy uniform? Check. The only thing missing is a government. So, naturally, the pirates invent one. And this is where things get both hilarious and weirdly progressive. Because pirates, as it turns out, are really into democracy. Every ship is like a tiny floating parliament. Crews vote on everything. Where to sail, who gets how much loot, even who gets to be captain. Ship captains can be fired on the spot if they mess up. Try pulling that in an actual navy. Fast forward 6 months. Nassau is now a pirate utopia. The beach is lined with broken ships, the taverns are full of tattooed lunatics, and the only laws are whatever the pirates make up that afternoon. Someone steals your hat? Too bad. It's probably going to be someone else's turn tomorrow. The only real rule is don't mess with the loot. Meet Blackbeard. Real name, Edward Teach. Imagine a man with burning matches in his beard, eyes wild, voice booming like a church organ after 4 cups of coffee. He struts through Nassau like he owns the place, which, in a way, he does. Blackbeard isn't just scary, he's the unofficial mayor, warlord, and HR department, all rolled into one. His management style? Do what I say or I set the ship on fire. Surprisingly effective, but Blackbeard isn't the only boss in town. Enter Charles Vane. If Blackbeard is the charismatic psycho, Vane is the guy who's always a little too eager to start a fight. He's great at stealing ships and terrible at making friends. Every time someone tries to organize a council, Vane's first suggestion is, let's blow something up. He's like that coworker who always wants to escalate to management, except with more dynamite. The pirates even give themselves a name, the Flying Gang, not the Sensible People's Republic of the Bahamas. No, that would be too easy. It's the Flying Gang. Part motorcycle club, part anarchist commune, part very loud family reunion. By 1717, Nassau is the world capital of piracy, and the British are starting to notice. Ships keep disappearing, merchants keep complaining, governors start sending urgent letters back to London. Dear King, pirates stole my wig. Please send help. But the pirates, they're too busy building their own version of paradise. Except, of course, paradise and pirates mix about as well as rum and gunpowder. The loot piles grow. The British Navy gets angry. The pirates' government is a swirl of brawls and backstabbing. And into this chaos steps a new character with a plan to change everything. But before we get to him, let's take a closer look inside the day-to-day madness of pirate Nassau. The sun rises over Nassau, and the first sound you hear isn't birdsong. It's cannon fire. Someone's moved target practice to the main street again. Drunken sailors stumble out of smoky taverns, pockets jangling with stolen silver, faces painted with soot and half-forgotten tattoos. If you need breakfast, your options are rum, stale biscuits, or if you're lucky, some mysterious meat that's probably not rat. People barter for everything. A dented compass? Worth 3 pistols maybe. A fancy hat? Good luck keeping it for more than a week. Commerce here runs on an advanced system called shouting until someone gives in. Even the local blacksmith, a man named Stumpy Joe, don't ask, sets prices based on how scary your crew looks. Between the ramshackle huts and the broken masts jutting from the sand, pirate captains hold council. Picture a town meeting if everyone is armed and half of them are plotting to rob the other half. "We need more ships," yells one. "We need more rum," shouts another. "We need a bath," suggests nobody, ever. Disagreements get settled the old-fashioned way. Not with votes, but with arm wrestling, drinking contests, or, on one legendary afternoon, a pie-eating duel that ends with both contestants covered in jam and promoted to head of morale. It's not exactly the Magna Carta, but it works. Sort of. Every day, new faces drift in from the sea. Some are would-be pirates, drawn by wild rumors of gold and freedom. Others are desperate sailors, jumped from busted navies or merchant crews who accidentally forgot which side they were on. A few are women disguised as men because, surprise, Nassau's only rule about equality is don't get caught. Anne Bonny, for example. She shows up in men's clothes, swinging an axe and her own brand of sarcasm. She's instantly better at piracy than half the men and twice as terrifying. Word spreads fast in Nassau. Somebody discovers a Spanish ship anchored offshore. Instant town meeting. Blackbeard storms in, beard blazing like a bonfire. "Who's up for a little exercise?" he growls. Pirates cheer. Someone loses a boot in the excitement. And within the hour, every longboat in the bay is heading out. Each one loaded with cutlasses, pistols, and one guy playing the fiddle because, well, why not? Back ashore, the spoils get divided. Here's where democracy gets weird. Every man, and the occasional woman, if she's convincing enough, gets an equal share. Captains get a bit more, but only if the crew likes them. If your leader gets greedy, you vote him out. Simple. It's like Survivor with more gunpowder. Meanwhile, the flying gang's reputation spreads. Merchants' faces turn pale at the mere mention of Nassau. Navy officers draw straws to see who has to sail anywhere near the place. In London, politicians debate strategies while quietly checking their personal locks and hiding their best wigs. But paradise isn't all coconut drinks and treasure maps. Disease sweeps through the camps, scurvy, malaria, and something everyone just calls the itch. Medical care? Good luck. The nearest doctor is probably a barber who's most comfortable with a saw. Even Blackbeard can't scare away a fever. The fragile peace starts to crack. Charles Vane, never one for indoor voices, gets into a shouting match with another captain over a particularly shiny cannon. The argument ends with 3 ships changing hands, a fistfight that lasts until sunrise, and Vane exiled for the 3rd time this month. He'll be back. He always comes back. Spies from the British Navy slip ashore trying to blend in. They last about 3 hours before they're caught because, spoiler, powdered wigs and polished boots aren't exactly pirate camouflage. The pirates laugh, let the spies buy them a drink, then send them limping home minus their wallets and dignity. Even the pirates start to wonder, how long can this chaos last? Supplies are running low. The British are getting closer. Some want to settle down. Others want one more big score. Rumors swirl of a mysterious stranger on the horizon, a man with a royal pardon and a plan that might just end the party for good. But for now, the sun sets again over Nassau. Ships sway gently in the bay, lanterns flicker along the sand, and the night air buzzes with music, laughter, and the distant sound of someone falling off a roof. The flying gang is still in charge, barely. And as the tension grows, everyone waits to see which comes first. Order or utter disaster. Meet Woods Rogers, former privateer, professional grudge holder, and the last guy you want showing up at your pirate barbecue. He sails in with a fleet, a stack of pardons, and a face that says, "I haven't had fun since 1707. His pitch? Come quietly, sign this paper, and maybe we don't hang you from the nearest palm tree. Most pirates squint, scratch their beards, and ask if he'll at least buy a round first. Rogers just smiles and starts building a fort. Vane's crew wants none of it. Pardon? I'd rather eat my own boots, Vane shouts, before stealing the nearest sloop and sailing off in a cloud of profanity. Ben Hornigold, on the other hand, does some quick pirate math. Let's see, keep pirating and get hanged, or retire rich and open a tavern. He signs the pardon so fast he nearly gets a cramp. Suddenly, the ranks of the flying gang shrink. 1 minute, it's all rum and revolution. The next, it's a line of grim-faced pirates queuing up to become respectable. If you can call being a Nassau bartender respectable. But not everyone goes quietly. Blackbeard vanishes into the fog, plotting his next move. Calico Jack refuses to give up the dream of pirate democracy, though his crew mostly wishes he'd at least wash his shirts. A handful stay behind, clinging to the sand and the old rules. Rogers, meanwhile, tightens his grip. Out go the gambling dens and floating brothels. In come blockhouses, cannon batteries, and enough paperwork to make any buccaneer rethink his life choices. The mood shifts from wild freedom to martial law. Suddenly there are rules, schedules, taxes. Rogers even tries to make the pirates help dig new drainage ditches. It goes as well as you'd expect. I became a pirate to avoid honest work, someone yells, probably with a shovel in hand. The British Navy circles like sharks. Rogers has made deals, but he's not here to make friends. More pardons get handed out. The last holdouts are hunted down or simply drift away, searching for one last hidden cove that isn't on the King's map. Nassau, once the rebel playground of the Caribbean, becomes just another sleepy port, except now the paperwork is immaculate. The last real blow to pirate country comes quietly. No cannon fire, no final siege. Just dwindling crews and creeping normalcy. The wildest, weirdest social experiment in the Atlantic fizzles out, not with a bang, but with a ledger and a lockbox. What did it all mean? For a few years, ragtag outcasts built a country where captains could be fired, treasure was split fair, and the only law was the one you shouted loudest. They sang, they fought, they voted, and they broke every rule they could find. Then reality, dull, organized, heavily armed, caught up. Still, their legend stuck around, stubborn as a barnacle. The flying gang didn't just loot ships. They took a shot at building something wild and new. For a moment, pirates ran their own world. And for everyone who ever wanted to swap a plow for a pistol, that stubborn, sprawling dream sails on somewhere beyond the horizon. The end. No, wait, actually, yes, that's the end.